this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, Champa challenges Beerus to a baseball game. That's right, he is extending the olive branch of friendship and brotherly love in order to bring the two gods of destruction closer together, which means effectively we're going to see a baseball game between Universe 7 and Universe 6. But ultimately, this episode just highlights that Yamcha is the biggest joke of the entire Dragon Ball series. This entire episode is basically just watching Yamcha get his ass handed to him. It's funny, it's pathetic, and it just makes me feel all of this pity for Yamcha, who, at the beginning of the series, had so much promise. He was the very first person that Goku went up against that actually had some unique abilities. Now, at this point in the series, he is just the biggest laughingstock of the Dragon Ball universe. So, how was this episode? Well, actually, it was a lot of fun. It was a really funny episode. I mean, you just can't take this one all that serious. I mean, you get to see some of your most favorite Dragon Ball characters from Universe 7 and 6 wear baseball uniforms and play baseball, and since it's Dragon Ball, they gotta go over the top with it, which means there's gonna be ki blasts and lots of destruction and just lots of hilarity overall, just from the fact that Team 6 has some of the weirdest members on their team, like Batamo and Magetta. A lot of the humor from this episode also came from the fact that almost none of the characters knew anything about baseball, like how to play it. You know, you'd think that before they would actually play the game, they would try to teach their team how to play, but no, it's a lot funnier just to throw these guys into the ring. What is really great, though, is that Yamcha is ultimately the star of this episode. I mean, he is the punchline, but it makes sense why he would be the star, as in the original Dragon Ball Z anime series, he actually had a career as a baseball pitcher, and he knows a lot about the sport, and apparently, according to Bulma, it's really the only thing that he's good at, which that alone is also pretty sad. But what's really funny is, at the beginning of the match, Goku is pitching, which is a terrible idea because he cannot control his strength, and ends up destroying half of the field when he decides to go Super Saiyan Blue when he's pitching to Champa. The second time that he pitches is almost more impressive because somehow Goku is able to make this ball move obnoxiously slow, to the point where, like, everybody that's watching falls asleep. It also leads to what I think is one of the most random, funny-ass scenes from the entire series, period. The ball is moving so slow, and you see this little fly actually land on the baseball, but it's not a fly. It's actually a tiny man in a fly suit. It's made even funnier when Champa decides to hit the ball and basically sends this guy careening to his death. I don't know what it was, I don't know what it was referencing, but it was funny as shit. Goku's pitching is entirely too destructive, and that's when Yamcha gets on the mound. And at first, it's really impressive. He actually manages to strike out a couple of the key members of Universe 7. It's when he finally goes up to the bat that things start to go downhill for old Yamcha. First and foremost, when Vegeta pitches, he straight up just throws the ball right into his side, which should have probably killed the character, so Yamcha gets walked to first. When Goku goes up to bat, Vegeta of course has to strike him out, which is to say they both go Super Saiyan Blue and test each other's powers, and this leads to a great standoff scene with Goku actually trying to hit this ball as it's constantly pushing him back, with Yamcha deciding that he's going to try and run to second. However, when Goku gets out, he's forced to go back to first, but the ball ends up getting deflected, giving him the opportunity to go into second when Champa just suddenly appears from the sky and just jumps down right on top of him, just destroying him. Somehow, after getting hit by another ball from Champa, Yamcha makes it to third, and it looks like the game is going to end in something of a stalemate because Beerus and Champa end up having a freaking battle with each other, which causes untold destruction, probably killing many citizens around them, when suddenly we learn that Universe 7 won the game because Whis and Vados decided to call it off, and Universe 7 wins by a walk-off, and that's thanks to Yamcha, who actually made it to home plate. And what is probably the cherry on top of the absolutely hilarious sundae is that he's in the classic Yamcha is dead pose. This scene had me, like, holding my sides. It was so incredibly funny. Just further cementing that Yamcha is completely useless. And yet, his uselessness is what actually led to the victory of Universe 7 in this week's ridiculous episode of Dragon Ball Super. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of DBS? What a freaking daffy-ass episode of the series. I really liked this one, though, especially just how much it actually ripped into Yamcha, who is the biggest joke of the Dragon Ball franchise, without a doubt. I was kind of hoping this would be the episode that would slightly redeem him, but the fact that he was getting hurt at every single base every single time was really damn funny. And you just can't help but feel so bad for the guy, because of course, he lost Bulma, he's not as strong as Vegeta, he's nowhere near as strong as some of the other people, and whenever he tries to do something useful, it always ends up getting screwed up. I mean, yes, he did end up winning the game, but it just didn't look very heroic. And they could have done a lot more with his Wolfang Fist. I did like that they combined two of his key abilities when he was actually pitching towards Botamo. I thought that was a really awesome scene. Probably the coolest thing I've seen Yamcha do in actually a long time. The rest of the episode, though, you just feel sorry for the guy. He just cannot catch a freaking break. Overall, though, this was just a funny, goofy episode. Simple as that. If you want a couple of laughs with your favorite Dragon Ball characters, then check out this week's episode. You can pretty much check this one off the list. We have our baseball episode of Dragon Ball. A lot of anime series have them, and honestly, I thought this one was pretty funny. If anything, it got to make fun of Yamcha for a little bit, so relish in that. It's a lot of fun. The next episode, it looks like the next arc is finally going to get into full swing, and damned if I don't think it doesn't look interesting. It looks like Hit is going to be coming back, and according to the title and the reactions from the character at the end of the previews, it looks like Goku might need to go to the hospital. Hell, he might not even make it there. Goku might actually meet his maker in the next episode, but will he? We'll have to find out in next week's exciting episode of Dragon Ball Super. As for this one right here, I mean, it was just a goofy, fun episode, simple as that. Nothing really too deep to it, just a good, fun episode that'll put a smile on your face. You can take it or leave it, you can skip it or watch it, but I still highly recommend it to all Dragon Ball fans. So, I'm gonna give this episode right here a 4 out of 5. That's right, it was silly and stupid, but like I said, I found myself laughing quite a bit. So I think that's definitely a good thing. Entertainment value-wise, it's definitely worth a watch. So that's my thoughts on this episode. If any of you guys did watch it, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Were you disappointed, or did you think it was really hilarious how Yamcha was basically turned into the biggest joke of the series in this episode? What do you hope to see from this brand new Hit arc? Is Goku really going to be killed? And what do you hope to see from the rest of Dragon Ball Super? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. I will see you next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.